Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, somebody said, Pimpy, can't you do a more upbeat video about Iraq? I said, of course I could. I mean, do you guys really know what's going on over there? You guys hear all kinds of BS from everybody. But the truth of the matter is, do you have any clue what's going on over there? It really looks good for the future of Iraq. Outside of the corruption that's in the government, I mean, if they can stay on the path that they are, Al-Sudani gets a clear path to continue. The future for Iraq's economy looks really good. They should see some economic boom here, as long as the coordinated framework and those political people that are in power can somehow get out of the way or just removed from office altogether. So let's go ahead and show you all the fun stuff, shall we? Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Okay, I know I just barely posted a video, but somebody hit me up and said, no, what does this matter? The report's from 2016, it doesn't explain exactly what this is. So the real effective exchange rate, again, you guys, this is used to determine what's going on in trade. It says an increase in the real effective exchange rate implies that exports became more expensive and imports became cheaper. Therefore, an increase indicates a loss in trade competitiveness. This is just another tool they use to measure the value of their currency, but it is not the official exchange rate. I keep hearing this all the time from you guys going, well, if they install the real effective exchange rate, it's already there, you guys. This is IMF. You can come here and see a report that looks something similar to this. See, this is for 2022. Came out in January 2023. And it kind of tells you what's going on economically and politically in Iraq. All right, let's go through. You can see up there in the tabs, there's a lot of them. There is a lot of good things going on, you guys. There really is. We know that the coordinated framework is trying to figure out a way to move Al-Sudani. We know they're trying to figure out a way to get to early elections because he is not following their instructions. As a matter of fact, his policies are against the coordinating framework. He's doing, in my opinion, the right thing for the Iraqi people. Iraq raises 2024 budget by 15%. Surprising parliamentarian. So what they did was they increased their budget for 2024. Instead of it being at 199 trillion dinars, they increased it to 228 trillion dinars. The concern is that they're going to increase the deficit. They still left the price per oil at $70. Currently, it is at $87.48. But if it does drop below 70, they're really going to be hurting. So again, they increased their 2024 budget by 15%. It was reported to the news that the government had not explained the reason for the rise, which came despite a lower than expected budget deficit in 2023. So this is good that the deficit that they were expecting in 2023 is much lower, but their concern is they're still going to add to it. We in the Finance Committee were surprised that the government raised the total amount of the budget law from 199 trillion dinars to 228 trillion dinars in the 2024 budget. This is a large raise. While the amount spent in 2023 was only, like I said, that was only 142 trillion dinars, which is much lower than where they had budgeted for 199. So let me go out on a limb and just say that they're saying to themselves, look, we didn't spend the 199 that we budgeted for, so let's go ahead and increase the 2024 budget and it'll level itself out. I think that's just Al-Sudani wanting to get these projects going as quickly as possible before the coordinated framework does some shiesty stuff. He said the committee members had told the government that the budget should be realistic, not just aspirational. The increase in the budget will also increase the deficit. The budget is still being finalized by the cabinet and is expected to be sent to Parliament next month. The 2024 budget is based on an oil price of $70 per barrel, with oil exports expected to average 4.2 million barrels per day. The budget also includes a 10% increase in salaries for public sector employees. Iraq's economy is heavily dependent on oil exports, which account for more than 90% of the government revenues. The country has been struggling to rebuild its economy after years of war and conflict, but having said that, they appear to be well on their way. Talk about inflation. Iraq's fuel price surge ignites public outcry. Well, because it does affect the poor. The Iraqi cabinet recent decision to raise fuel prices for cars with premium gasoline seeing 30% increase and super quality gas facing 25% hike has sent shockwaves across the nation. Yeah. Said this move intends to address traffic congestion as part of a large government strategy, has instead sparked widespread anger and discontent amongst drivers, notably taxi operators and the general populace. I guess what they were thinking is if they raise gas prices so high that people can't afford gas, therefore you won't have to worry about too much congestion on the highways. In January 2024, Iraq advanced globally to become the 13th country with the most affordable gasoline price. Iran topped the list with the lowest price of $0.29 per liter. Data from Global Petrol Prices, the news access, reveals Iraq's position at 13th place with the price of 57 cents per liter. So you multiply that times what? Oh, here you go. So just to equal 1 U.S. gallon, that is 3.78 liters. So Iraq is paying 57 cents per liter. So they're paying about $2.16 for a gallon of gas. This will have a slight effect on the economy. If people can't afford the gas, they can't get to work. If they can't get to work, this isn't going to be well for Iraq. Plus, you have not just the taxi drivers, that's going to affect tourism. So it does have a chain effect. 30% increase is a huge increase, especially when you have a really cheap Iraqi dinar. But that is for high quality gasoline. During its recent session chaired by PM Al-Sudani, the cabinet approved a hike in premium petrol 95 octane prices were 650 dinars or 46 cents per liter. So if you stick to the cheap gas, well, it's still kind of affordable, all right? But this is one of the things you want to watch for as Iraq plays around with the economy. You know, anything that's going to cause inflation to go up. You don't want to do anything that affects the mobility of the Iraqi people who are trying to go out there and make a living, because you have trucks out there making delivery for businesses. Those are the types of things you have to take in consideration. All right, so let's get to all the fun stuff, shall we? NIOV announces the completion of $600 billion IQD plan for 2023. Wait, Pimpy, that's not right. How can they do this with an exchange rate of 1,320 dinars per dollar? Isn't that what we're told? So the NIOV, is that right, NIOV? Announced on Wednesday the completion of listing the project's plan for 2023, exceeding a value of 600 billion Iraqi dinars. They will become the first Iraqi government to announce the completion of its plans. This includes launching funds for ongoing projects in the government, including strategic ones such as Mosul Airport, in addition to newly approved projects. The deputy government and the planning department in NIOV government for their efforts in completing this plan. He further praised the deputy government and the planning department in NIOV government for their efforts in completing this plan. Other projects underway included in the listing is a conversion of a camp into an investment opportunity granting 741 acres to the Ministry of Defense and 1,186 acres to Mosul municipality for residential complexes. Notably, the camp, once the largest Iraqi army camp in Mosul, was used by ISIS as a major base when it seized control of the city in 2014. NIOV often faces delays in completing its plans and listing projects, with some problems still facing the food security plan launched almost 2 years ago. So you have another group of projects that were completed magically somehow with the exchange rate of 1,320 dinars. Iraq slated to announce 6 new residential cities. So not only are they completing, but they are planning and moving forward with more projects. Iraq will announce 6 new residential cities as investment opportunities soon, a spokesperson for the Iraqi Ministry of Construction and Housing said. He said 6 new residential cities will be offered as investments soon, but didn't share timelines, locations, or other details. So UAE-based company proposed investments totaling $10 billion in residential projects to the Prime Minister Al-Sudani. We are interested in building 5 to 10 residential cities in Iraq, offering 370,000 housing units in total. So you can see right here on Google Earth, these are all the buildings that they're talking about. So they've completed some of them, and they're adding on in other locations right around the same territory. Look at this. Completed, building, started, somehow miraculously with the same exchange rate. You can tell these ones are lived in. These ones probably just need some touch-ups and then they're done. It's weird how all the buildings look alike, but look at all these housing units. And all these are going to be getting worked on. So not only have they completed a lot of the units, some are halfway done, and then they're getting ready to start even more of building these units over there in Iraq. Somehow with an exchange rate of 1,320 dinars per dollar. Anyways, look at this. Iraq approves new airport and steel plant. In Iraq, I think they have one of the largest cement factories there. So if they start a steel plant, instead of importing all these goods from other countries, they can build the supplies they need to rebuild their country right there in Iraq. It's a smart move. So a steel plant is going to be built, and they have a new airport coming in. Iraq has approved 2 projects involved. They've approved them? How? How are they doing this? Iraq has approved 2 projects involved in the construction of new civilian airport and steel plant within post-war rebuilding scheme. The local media reported on Thursday the 2 projects in South Central Government were endorsed by the Supreme Committee for Construction and Investment, which met in the capital of Baghdad on Wednesday under Al-Sudani. Yeah, Al-Sudani is really kicking ass, you guys. So here we go. We got a new airport coming in, and they have a steel factory going to be built. Iraq to award Sadr City projects to Chinese firms. Chinese firms are going to be over there building even more housing units. Iraq will soon award Sadr City in the capital of Baghdad to Chinese companies after it shortlisted 5 firms from the Asian countries, an official has said. Bidding for the 60,000 house city will end after 2 weeks, and the project is scheduled to be launched within 2 months. Launched? Wait, they haven't changed the exchange rate yet. But anyways, it's going to be launched in 2 months. 5 Chinese companies have been shortlisted for Sadr City. The contract with winning bidders will be signed shortly. Sadr is one of 15 residential cities to be constructed in Iraq within a post-war drive to tackle a housing crisis. So see, they are making progress, regardless of the exchange rate. Iraq to complete 500 MW link to Kuwait by year's end. By year's end? How are they going to do this with the current exchange rate? Iraq will complete a link to Kuwait's power grid by the end of 2024 and begin receiving 500 megawatts of electricity, a government minister was quoted as saying by state media, amid a push in the country to diversify power sources that are heavily reliant on Iran. The electricity minister said that the link to Kuwait was currently 45% complete. Somehow they're moving forward with such a cheap currency. So it's 45% complete, and they're saying by the end of this year, it should be completed altogether. Of course, there's a big push by the United States for Iraq to end its reliance on Iran's gas for electricity. But if you remember last time, they were blowing up these generators, so don't be surprised if we don't see that happen again. I mean, come on, you know they want this electricity grid in there quickly. First of all, you got to think about the Iraqi people. During the summertime at its peak hours, it's 122 degrees. Woo, man, I'd go crazy without a air conditioner. But not just that, if you're going to invite outside investors to come in and open companies, you definitely want to make sure they have electricity to do whatever it is they need to do within Iraq. Stabilize Iraq's exchange rate. So there's a new study going through and seen between the years 2004 and 2022, the pros and cons of all the things that Iraq has done to try to stabilize the currency and then come up with a new plan. Take what's good, disregard the rest. So the study aims to understand and measure the impact of some central banks' tools on achieving stability in the Iraqi Dinar exchange rate against the US dollar from 2004 to 2022. It seeks to identify flaws hindering the stability of the local currency value within Iraq's economy context. Preserving the value of the local currency has been the primary goal of the bank to maintain price levels, primarily tied to the local dinar's level against the US dollar. So as I said, they're going to go through and study what was good and what was bad, and then come up with a strategy to stabilize the currency. Iraq recovers nearly 7 billion dinars, land usurped by former regime. Not too shabby. So the Iraqi Fund for Assets Recovery on Wednesday said it retrieved nearly 7 billion dinars in funds and over 300 dunams of land linked to figures from the former regime. The fund uncovered 2 accounts belonging to the former Republican Guard at the Al Rafidian Bank. One of the accounts contained 4.3 billion Iraqi dinars, while the other 1.9 million. Both were held by a General Railways company. These funds were transferred back to the Finance Ministry's central bank account. Investigations led to confiscation of 300 dunams of farmland registered to Ali Hassan and his brothers in Kirkuk. The land was re-registered under the Ministry of Finance. So not only did they recover money, but they recovered a crap load of land. The fund also unearthed a forgery case involving 3 residential properties in Baghdad's previous owned by ex-army chief and staff Hussein Rashid. The 2,210 square meter property were retrieved and returned to the finance ministry. And these are farmlands? Good. Lease them and let people start growing food on there. That would be good for your agriculture. Developers to own 75% of city projects in Iraq. Dang, that's an awful lot. 75% of city projects? Developers will be allowed to own up to 75% of new cities that will build in Iraq under fresh investment regulations approved by Al-Sudani. National Investment Commission spokesperson said on Tuesday 19 cities would be constructed in Iraq, including 4 in the capital of Baghdad, within plans to tackle the post-war housing crisis. They shortly unveiled new investment opportunities for developers seeking to take advantage of a massive post-war reconstruction program. Besides 4 cities approved in Baghdad, there are plans to build 15 other cities in various governorates from the north to the south. These projects will be awarded to investors as per new investment rules, which stipulate that 25% of the units in the new cities will be offered to the government while investors will retain 75%. The government will distribute some of those units free to poorer citizens and the rest of the citizens in return for long-term payments. Not bad, man. They really help out their poor people. Free housing. So investment opportunities are there in Iraq. So U.S. is now helping Iraq and Turkey, along with Kurdistan, a deal for reopening the ITP pipeline. The U.S. said is collaborating with Iraqi, Turkish, and Kurdistan regional authorities to reopen the Iraqi-Turkey oil pipeline, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State of Energy announced on Wednesday. And that will bring in additional revenue for Iraq. So see, there are a lot of positive things out there. And I know you guys are being told that it's impossible to do these projects with such a low exchange rate. And they did it in 2023. And you don't see any change to exchange rate yet for 2024. At least there's no hint of a change of the exchange rate for 2024. All they did was increase the amount they want budgeted for the year. So we'll see what happens as they approve that. But 2023 budget is complete. They are now moving forward with the 2024 budget once it's approved. Anyways, as I stated, look, Iraq's going to keep moving forward. They've done this in the past with the exchange rate being cheap. It has nothing to do with the projects that are in there. When they make a budget for anything, any project that they're working on, they've already taken into consideration the exchange rate. So don't fall for that. I keep telling you guys this. And there's other content creators out there telling you, no, they can't do it. It's impossible. It's impossible. As you can see, that's not the case. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that the future for Iraq is starting to really look good. As long as the government doesn't interfere, Al-Sudani keeps doing what he's doing and moving forward. Hopefully they don't remove him. And he continues to grow the Iraqi economy. Let's cross our fingers and hope Al-Sudani doesn't go anywhere, okay? Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.